Hey guys, today I'm talking about Amnesia the Bunker. Easily one of the best games of the year, and definitely one of the best survival horror games to come out in the last couple of years, to be honest. It's definitely a comeback for Amnesia. They did an excellent job. Frictional Games in general, I'm pretty sure that's a developer, right? Frictional Games, right? I think I got it. Their last few Amnesia games haven't really been all that great. Dark Descent was the only really good one up until now. Machine for Pigs, I'm pretty sure they're not the ones who made Machine for Pigs, but it was pretty mid. The the Pigmen. When I heard the name that it was called Machine for Pigs, I didn't think they were actually talking about pigs. You know what I mean? I thought it was a metaphor, but no, they're actual pigmen that chase you around throughout the game. I I thought that was pretty stupid. I didn't mind the whole thing they did with the pigs, with the whole experiment stuff. I was okay with that, but I don't like what they did with them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like running from the grunts or the brutes in the original Amnesia. That just gave you that constant sense of dread. You'd hear that noise of shit stuff when they're coming after you. That was awesome. I loved that. I didn't grow up on that game. I played Amnesia: The Dark Descent earlier this year. You know what I mean? And I still love that game more than half of the horror games I played. It's a good game. And for some reason, I just haven't been able to hit that beat until now. Rebirth also wasn't that great. It wasn't even really scary. I didn't even finish Rebirth. I got past maybe the first 3 or 4 hours of that game and I quit. I couldn't do it. I didn't like the whole dimensional stuff with the watch or the compass or whatever that was. I didn't like any of that. I thought it was kind of a dumb idea, and it didn't really hit well for me. And now we have this. We have the bunker. I've never played Soma either, but yeah, we have the bunker now. And Amnesia the Bunker is a comeback for Amnesia. It is everything those other games tried to be, quadrupled. It is such a good game. I like it better than the original one. Amnesia the Bunker is the best Amnesia game thus far, full stop. It's one of the best horror games out right now, full stop. They did such a good job. Uh, I think the only thing I'd complain about in that game, actually, there's a couple complaints, but I mean, most of it can be fixed in an update. The only real complaint I have with it is graphics, right? And I get it's an indie game, and actually, to be honest, it is probably the best looking Amnesia game. Other than, well, maybe not as good as Rebirth. Rebirth was probably a little superior. But, no, you know what? I don't know. Because Rebirth, sure, like texture-wise and resolution-wise might have been a bit better, but with Amnesia, but the lighting was nowhere near as good. With Amnesia, the bunker, like the kind of lower-end graphics don't even matter because the lighting is so good. You know what I mean? Like, there are some moments in there where I'm kind of like, oh, well, that looks kind of bad. That looks kind of shitty. But there's other moments where it does start to look genuinely good. You know what I mean? When you're in the darkness, the game looks fantastic. When there's just when there's those small red lights or little spotlights or whatever, or when you just have that crank light and you're looking around all the dark corridors and everything, that looks amazing. I love that. That's my favorite part of the whole. Those are my favorite parts of the whole game. When the generator's out, there's no light, just wandering around, hoping that it would be like this. You have the crank light, right? Hoping the thing doesn't come out. And all of a sudden you hear him coming. All of a sudden you hear him coming down the upstairs. You know what I mean? It's really good when you're those moments are so well done and they look great and they sound great. The way they handle the monster here is the best way I think anybody's handled any kind of unscripted monster like this. Even Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation was good, but I was never scared when that alien showed up. You know what I mean? Because after the first few times, you're like, oh, here he goes. You know what I mean? You kind of know when he's going to come out. With the beast in here, you don't. with the Beast, he can just show up. You run for a little too long in the dark, and he'll just pop out. No warning. He's coming. You'll hear him move for a second, and then boom, he's there. Or sometimes he'll just... Because he's even in isolation, right? In alien isolation. The alien doesn't usually just start walking around a random area when you walk in. Right? Like, at least when I played through, he never did that. He was always in the vents, and you look on your thing, ding, 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 oh, here he comes. But in this game, you don't have that. And in this game, if it's dark out and the generator isn't on, he can come out whenever he wants. And it's not just when he hears you. He could just pop out when he feels like it. You're sitting... I was... Well, I guess there was a little bit of noise for the prisoner, but I was coming down to the prison. Because I had to... I was trying to get those... I have a clip of it. I was trying to get those... the bolt cutters, and he was right there. I was trying to blow up this door, and he was right there. He was waiting for me. He was right there at the bottom of those staircase. At the bottom of that staircase, he spotted me instantly, and I bolted. I ended up getting killed anyway. But he was right there. There was no reason for him to be there, but he was there because he felt like it. It was, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that that got me in that game. That kind of pulled me in. The fact that he could just appear. You know, the alien, you knew he was coming. This guy you don't, because you don't have all those sensors and all that stuff. You can't predict when he's going to show up. He can just show up. If you're making noise and you hear him coming around, you know, then maybe you can kind of figure out when he's gonna show. But if you're just wandering around and all of a sudden, you could just be wandering around all of a sudden, and you just, bam, he's right there in your face. It's I love that. That is one of the best things about this game. Easily, and I'm going to show a clip of that right now, right here. Alright. So, what exactly is the game about? Well, it's about you in a bunker, obviously, but the plot starts off with you running around in the trenches. It's the middle of World War I, you're playing as the French, you're getting bombarded by Germans, yada yada yada, and you guys end up getting blown up. Well, you don't die, but you know what I mean. You get knocked out. Can't remember much. You wake up in this bed and you realize something is not right very fast. You go out and you realize that there's this beast going around. He takes one of your people. I'll show a clip of that here too. Spoilers. I guess I already said it. My bad, but still spoilers if you want to go experience that for yourself. But here you go. And, yeah, that was a very good opening. That was a good opening. It was similar to Alien Isolation, actually, but I think it's just the setting. The setting changes so much. And, like, Alien Isolation was dark, but this is even darker. But this is even darker. Like, the lights, when the lights are out here, you literally can't see shit. There's no dark mode like there was in Amnesia Rebirth, which looked like garbage. Or even in the original Amnesia had it. They did a little better there, but that's because they had the Sandy system, so there's something else there to kind of wanting you to stay out of that. But in here, when it's dark out, it's dark. And it's scary. Oh, man. Yeah, they didn't... Anyways, after that point, you're on your own. There's not really much plot after that. You're throwing, there's notes and stuff lying around to kind of tell you what happened before, but there's not much going on about that. That point on, you're facing off against the beast, and it is an experience. It's a scary fight. It's scary for all the reasons I just described. There's other things in there too, like the rats. The rats, I don't really like. The rats are okay. I have that's one of my issues with the game though. The rats are kind of a hit or miss. They are cool, and it is certainly something you have to worry about because they make noise and the monster can show up. They can also hurt you, which can cause you to bleed. The monster can smell that and follow you that way too, so you need bandages. But I don't know. The rats always just seem kind of like an unnecessary hindrance to me. I understood why they were there, but especially when you go into the tunnels and there's just rats everywhere. You know what I mean? The beast is already a big enough threat. I didn't really think that the rats were necessary. They were cool. You know, I wouldn't put points against the game for that, but it is definitely, it is something I noticed right off the bat. You know what I mean? One thing I will say though, animation-wise, it looks good. It's solid. I like that part about it. Oh, speaking of that, the running animation for the beast. Oh. That I didn't even realize it when I until I went down to the prison that one time and I threw the grenade at the door and he came at me. When he gallops, kind of like the brute in Dead Space. He gallops at you like that. It's kind of a personal thing for me. That scares the crap out of me. I hate it when like big bulky monsters are coming at you. But yeah, I was with that. I was all with that. But yeah, there's a lot of other stuff in there too. Those were the notable things. Those are the things I really liked about it. But yeah, other than the rat thing. But there are some other things I don't really like either about it. These are things that like I said before, could all be fixed in a small update. But it's stuff. I don't know if I have a clip of it, but it's stuff mainly having to do with the AI of the monster. Not that it's not good, it is, for all the other reasons I described earlier. But there are certain things I don't like about it, how you can't really hide from this thing. Now, if there's something blocking you from it, like vision-wise, like if you're out of its line of sight, it will not find you. Even if you sit under a table, it will not find you, which is kind of weird. I think the hiding places are scripted, right? I think they're programmed that if you're under that spot, it cannot find you unless you do something to it. I think that's how it is. Because I was, yeah, I don't think it's line of sight. I think it is scripted. Because when I'm in a locker or something, it can't find me. Or when I'm under a table, it can't find me. But if I'm hiding behind that same table, he'll track me down like a heat-seeking missile. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that, and I think that should be tweaked. I think you actually should be able to hide from this thing. If you're in the same room as it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be distance, because sometimes you're far away from it, it won't find you. But if you're in the same room as it, and you're just hiding behind a box, you're dead. It'll find you. You need to run. It's going to find you if you're hiding behind the box. There's no escaping it that way. And while that is definitely scary, it can also lead to a lot of really unfair moments. And I have died because I thought I was safe behind this block, and he's like, oh, hey, buddy. And I, you know what I mean? Just comes barreling behind when he was looking the complete opposite direction before and shouldn't have been able to see me, period. It's stuff like that. I didn't like that. But that's the only major gripe I think I'd have with it, because everything else was fine. You know what I mean? Like, and I know some people had issues with the generator system because, you know, they thought, oh, well, this is kind of dumb. It runs out fast and the monster will show up anyway. What's the point of even using it? But no, it's not useless. It's not useless. It's very useful because when that thing's filled up, the monster cannot free roam around rooms. Remember what I said before, how the monster could just kind of pop out and he's just wandering around a room? Yeah, he can't do that. If he can't do that at all if the lights are on. He can't come out. Unless you make noise and he'll come to investigate for a little bit and then leave. But other than that, as long as the lights are on, he won't free roam in rooms. He doesn't like the light. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. And I like systems like that. Things that can help you but won't destroy the threat, right? It'll lessen the threat, but it'll not get rid of it entirely. And it's also limited. I like that. I like that a lot. And it works well. It makes you really think about, when are you going to use this? When do you want to have the generator on? Should you turn it on just because you're going to go look for some fuel? I wouldn't. That seems like a waste of fuel. If you're just going out to find more fuel, if you're just going out to find more fuel anyway, or some little items in the main area, why would you turn the generator on? Why not save that for when you have to go into the maintenance room, or more particularly the prison, where the prisoner guy's screaming his head off. I had to do that. I'm still trying to do that in the dark because I don't have any fuel left, because I wasted it earlier, right? It makes you think about that kind of stuff. And I like that. And I like that. It's good. Stuff like that is good. I like that. And it's things like that that really that make this game a much more enjoyable experience for me. I guess is where I'm going with this. And yeah, it's just a good game overall. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I have some more clips I'd like to show here of it. Particularly one I'm going to put up there now. It was my last attempt to try and get my second last attempt to try and get the bolt cutters. God, I was I went down, and the guy started screaming and the monster was coming. I had just blown up the door I needed to get through with a grenade. The monster was on its way. I ran down to where the guy was. Apparently you're supposed to run back up to the entrance. I didn't know that. So I ran down into the prison area, and I was trying to hide, trying to find somewhere to go. I found this one room. I found this one corridor with this explosive tank. So I had an idea. Why not I wait for the guy to come out of the hole, and or wait for the guy to come down the hallway, and I'll shoot that tank and I'll blast him out of there. And that's exactly what I did. I went into the cellar. You'll see it in the thing. I went into the cellar. I started pushing the thing out, and then what I didn't know, there was a hole in that cellar, and his hand came out and he started crawling out. I was freaking out. I was pushing the barrel out. Oh God, run, Jesus! I get out there. I run to the back. He's coming out of the cellar. I blast the thing, and he takes off right out there, and oh my God.
Es kann! Nein! Nein! Lassen Sie es zu! Nein! 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 Lassen Sie es zu! Es kann! Es kann! Bitte! Bitte! Hilf mir! Nein! Nein! Gott im Himmel! Nein! Nein! Ich will nicht versterben! Bitte!
That was easily one of the most tense moments I had in that game, but it was one of the best. That was easily the best moment in that entire game for me. I loved every second of that. You could feel it. I could feel it right in my chest when he was popping out of that hole. Oh! I was losing it. And I had another moment like that too. I spent probably 2 hours down in maintenance, trying to get into the chapel. I was getting through, going down the tunnel to get to the chapel, to get the key into the pillbox. And he showed up. I threw the thing. I said too much. I had to go into the chapel because you have to get this key to get into the pillbox, to get into another room, to get some more tags. So I went ahead and I did that, and I got all that done. I had a couple encounters with the monster. Had another one of those moments I was talking about when he just kind of appears, no warning. He just appears and goes into the room. Head back into the fuel room for a little bit after that. A little Molotov cocktail on me, getting ready to. Howdy. I was waiting, and then I was on the way back. I was on the way back. I got to the tunnel, and I was walking. I hadn't made too much noise there, but I had my torch out. I was on my way back to the main room. I was close to the save room. Well, I was in the main hallway, and then I heard him right from the left corner. He was right next to me. He was coming out of the hole. I bolted down that hallway, like the Usain Bolt. I did not stop. I went crazy. Ran in that safe room, and I still heard him coming, right? Because he can get in there. He can get into the safe room. You're not safe there. And he can get into the fuel room, too. I'm flipping. I'm trying to shut the door. It's not shutting, because that's the physics stuff from the old Amnesia games. I'm like, all right, close the door. Close the door. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I'm losing my friggin' mind. And finally, I lock it. I hear him smash. Well, no, he didn't smash nobody. I heard him go by. And, again, the tension. You feel it when stuff like that happens in this game. You feel it because, you're not safe anywhere. He can get you no matter what. So, when he left, that was, man, I turned that, I hit that lamp, and I quit. I turned that whole game off. I ain't take a break. My heart was going like 120 beats per second, 400 beats a second. I was losing it. But I'm going to show a clip of that too. That was another one of those great moments. I loved it. And things like that make me love this game. I haven't felt like this in a horror game in a long time. In a horror game like this in a long time. I think the only one that ever made me feel like that recently was Monstrum. But that depends on the monster. Right? And Monstrum is good. I have some clips of that too, and I actually wanted to talk about that as well, because that's another game. I heard Monstrum 2 wasn't very good, but the first one was super fun. But that was like the only other game that made me feel like that, and that's another old game that came out around the same time as this did. No, not this, but the original Amnesia. Oh no, that would have came out around like when Machine for Pigs came out. Never mind. Forget I said that. But yeah, no, I'm super happy with The Bunker. I think it's a great game. I can't talk about the ending. I wouldn't spoil it anyway. But I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still trying to get the bolt cutters. I think I'm nearing the end of the game, but I'm not quite there yet. So maybe I'll talk about it again a little bit once I get there. But yeah, I'm loving the game. I think it's great for all the reasons mentioned. And yeah, I think if I was going to give it a rating right now, it would probably be a 9. It'd probably be a solid 9, maybe a 9.5. Maybe not 9.5. I give it probably a solid 9. I think it's a solid title. Easily one of the best horror games to come out this year. Probably the only good horror game to come out this year, actually, but easily one of the best horror games to come out in probably the last 5 years. Maybe even the best. I mean, you could be like, well, Resident Evil 4 came out. Resident Evil 4 isn't a horror game. That's an action game. Come on. And I love that too. I wouldn't mind talking about that on here either. That game was great, but it's not a horror. It wasn't a horror game. This was a horror game, and it was a fantastic one. And yeah, I would highly, highly recommend it. So yeah, that's basically my whole talk about. I wouldn't exactly call it a review. A lot of it really was just me rambling about it. You can call it a review if you want. You can call it a review if you want. But that was just kind of my thing on Amnesia the Bunker. 9 out of 10. I think it's a solid game. Super happy with it. Thanks for watching. I have a link down to my website and my other channel, my main channel, down in the description. And hope you guys like watching. If you did, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up too if you feel like it.